Hey volleyball fans, Rob St. Clair here from the European Volleyball Show, previewing Pool A of EuroVolley 2021 men. We're going to look at all 6 teams, their histories in the tournament, their histories against one another, and then I will pick a couple of things at the end of the video. I'll pick my projected MVP of the pool, my breakout player of the pool, match in the pool that I definitely think you all should watch, and then I will pick the pool 1 through 6. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with the hosts in Poland. Poland hosting Pool A in Krakow. Matches played at the Tauron Arena in Krakow. Poland will also host some matches in each of the knockout rounds, including both semifinals and both medal matches. Those will be in Katowice. So home field advantage for Poland really throughout the tournament, and that's a big deal. We know how great their volleyball fans are. Poland are making their 11th consecutive appearance at the European Championship since they last failed to compete in 1999. Their last win was 2009 in Turkey. They've been runner-ups on 5 occasions, which is a record: 1975, 77, 79, 81, and 83. If I'm reading that correctly, that's 5 second-place finishes in a row back in the 70s and 80s. They also finished on the podium in the bronze medal spot in 1967, 2011, and of course most recently in 2019. In those 2019 European Championships, Poland won 8 of their 9 matches, with the only exception being that loss to Slovenia in the semifinals, that very memorable match 2 years ago, which many of us will remember. And of those 8 wins, 7 of them were in straight sets. Only one of the last 11 European Championships was won by a team playing the final on home court, and that was Italy in 2005, who beat Russia 3-2 in Rome. So Poland looking to rewrite that particular piece of history, and one of the very favorites in the tournament to do so. Moving on to Belgium. They make their 17th appearance at the European Championships and their 6th in a row. Their best performance was 4th place in 2017, so pretty good recent history there. Only Finland has made more appearances at the tournament without ever reaching the podium. Finland's done that 18 times. Belgium's done it 16. So Belgium's been close, but never medaled at the European Championships, looking to do so this time. In EuroVolley 2019, Belgium finished 9th, losing 3-2 to the Ukraine in the round of 16. So a rematch of that matchup coming here in Pool A. Moving on next to a very big team, the defending champions in Serbia. They've won this tournament 3 times, 2001 when they were Serbia and Montenegro, 2011 and 2019, of course. Only Russia and Italy have won the event more times. Serbia could become the first team to win consecutive European Championships on the men's side since Italy in 03 and 05. Italy also won them back-to-back in 1993 and 95, also done by the Soviet Union and Czechoslovakia way back in the early history of the tournament. So not an easy thing to do, to repeat the European Championships on the men's side. Very different to the women's, where it's been repeated several times by the last several winners. Not nearly as easy on the men's side, so a tall task for Serbia to repeat. Serbia has reached the podium at 10 of the last 13 European Championships, which is crazy. 10 of their last 13 appearances were on the podium. In this run, they only failed to record a podium finish in 2003, where they finished 4th, 2009, where they finished 5th, and 2015, where they finished 7th. So a whole lot of success the last 15, 20, 25 years for Serbia in the European Championships. A lot of hardware. Of course, being the reigning champs, Serbia has the longest active European Championship winning streak, 10 consecutive wins in this tournament, going back to the semifinal loss to Germany 3-2 in 2017. That's 10 consecutive wins for Serbia in this tournament, looking to extend that here in Pool A. Just a couple things to note about Serbia's team before we move on. We know a lot about their 2 starting outside hitters, Juros Kovacevic, Marko Ivovic, both elite players, if not a little bit streaky, both guys. Kovacevic, of course, the MVP of 2019 EuroVolley and the men's CEV Best Volleyball Player that year. We know pretty much what we're getting out of the middles, elite middles in Podraščanin, Kursmanovic, and Lisinac. Setter and Jovovic, you know what you're getting out of him. Any of the liberos, I think, are interchangeable. But the interesting thing for Serbia is the opposite position. Is Alexander Atanasijevic healthy, or will we see a little more of Drazen Ljuburic, who we certainly don't lose very much with? Ljuburic, a really good player. So curious to see if this Serbian team can kind of put it all together, which sometimes they're unable to do in big competitions, although they certainly were able to do that in EuroVolley 2019. So we'll see if they can defend their title. Moving on, our fourth team in Pool A, the Ukraine, in the European Championships for the sixth time, and only the second time they've participated in 2 editions consecutively. They did it 3 times in a row in the 1990s. Their best result ever was 6th in their competition debut in 1993. They finished 7th in 2019, losing in 5 to Serbia in the quarterfinals after beating Belgium in the round of 16, like we mentioned before. So a lot of Pool A history, a couple of rematches to be played for the Ukraine in 2021. All time, the Ukraine have won 13 of their 31 matches in tournament history. Their first victory ever was against Poland, 3-1 in the group phase in 1993, so some promising history there. Moving on, our fifth team in Pool A is Greece. They make their 16th appearance in the tournament. Their best result all time was 3rd, bronze medal in 1987, but they haven't finished higher than 6th in their 9 appearances since. They finished 6th in 2005. Only Bulgaria, Finland, and Belgium have made more appearances in the tournament than Greece without winning one. Greece has done that 15 times, Belgium 16, Finland 18, and Bulgaria 29 appearances without a win. So podium, a nice goal this time for Greece. I think making it out of pools honestly would be a nice goal for them, but that number will continue to grow for Greece until they can participate in one of these and also stand on top of the podium. Recent history in the European Championships for Greece, not so good. Only one of their last 8 in matches, which was a group phase win over Romania in 2019, where they finished 16th, making it out of pools, but losing the first round. Last but not least, in Pool A, we have Portugal in the European Championships for the 6th time and the first time ever in consecutive editions. Their best result ever was 4th out of only 6 teams in the first ever championship tournament all the way back in 1948. Portugal finished 20th out of the 24 teams in EuroVolley 2019. Their only win was a 3-1 group phase win over Pool A opponents in Greece, which ended a run of 8 consecutive defeats in the tournament. Interesting stat here, Portugal have lost the opening set in each of their last 9 European Championship matches, all the way back to against Russia in 2005. So a quick start, I would argue, is a key for a lot of teams, but historically, especially for Portugal, if they can get on the board first and win the first set, a very good sign for this team. All right, moving on to my picks for Pool A. Presumptive MVP, a guy who I expect to dominate this pool, somebody who you should not be surprised to hear in the same sentence as the concept of an MVP award. Polish outside hitter Wilfredo Leon, who at the Olympic Games in Tokyo was absolutely unbelievable. We talked about how good he was in that elimination match against France. He is capable of carrying a team anywhere that they need to go. And finally, after now a couple tournaments under his belt as a Polish national playing on the national team, I expect Wilfredo Leon to be similarly dominant this time around. No reason why any of these teams really should be able to stop him. I think he's the best player in the world, and I think he's going to show that here in Pool A. My breakout player of the pool is a guy who not many of you might know all that well. As far as Ukrainian men's players, you may be familiar with Ole Plotnitsky, having played a big role in Perugia the last couple years in club, but you may not have heard of Dmytro Wiecki. They're the opposite. I think he's 23 at most, maybe even younger than that. Young guy, very explosive on the opposite, across from Plotnitsky, a guy capable of really balancing that offense. Plotnitsky really explosive, obviously, but not that big, not going to be a guy to score like Wilfredo Leon volumes of points for a team like the Ukraine, but Wiecki's really going to be able to help. A young opposite who's, I think, really a rising star. His stock is going to rise after this tournament, in my opinion, so keep your eye on Wiecki for the Ukraine. Match to watch in this pool, I think, is pretty much a no-brainer. September 4th, Serbia versus Poland. The reigning champs versus the hosts of the pool. Perhaps a medal match preview. Who knows? I think these two teams are 2 of the favorites in the entire tournament. And if you're not tuned in on September 4th to watch Serbia and Poland go at it, you are seriously missing out. It's going to be one of the best matches in the early stage of this tournament. I can't wait to watch this one. And I think it'll be a tone setter for Serbia in particular, how they respond to Poland playing at home and what kind of level and consistency Serbia is playing with in this tournament. I think we're going to get a lot of information out of that particular matchup. So make sure to tune into that one on September 4th. All right, last but not least, my picks for this pool, Pool A. I'm going to start from the bottom. Tough call between 5th and 6th, in my opinion. I'm going to go with Greece in 6th. and Portugal in 5th. I think Portugal's got a little bit of experience the last few years playing in the World League and playing in VNL a couple times. Greece, just not the same level of high-level international experience. I would think Portugal will beat Greece head-to-head, and that might be good enough for them to take 5th. But then the top 4 teams I expect to make it out of pools pretty comfortably. I'm going to pick the Ukraine in 4th and Belgium in 3rd, although I could see that going either way. Belgium, a really good team with Sam Deru, a player I respect a lot. I think they're a little more experienced than the Ukraine is. So that matchup between the two of them I think will be really interesting, but I do expect both the Ukraine and Belgium to make it out of pools. And then the 2 teams in the featured match that I talked about, Serbia and Poland, I'm going to go with Serbia in 2nd and Poland in 1st. I think Poland playing at home is such a massive advantage, and with the expectation perhaps of actually having fans there, makes an even bigger difference for Poland. They've had a disappointing summer so far, 2nd in VNL, 5th at the Olympics. I predict they win this pool, they ride the home field momentum, and perhaps win this European Championships, which is exactly what their national team needs, in my opinion. So there's my picks 1 through 6. Poland, Serbia, Belgium, Ukraine, Portugal, and Greece. We will see how it all goes down. Matches in Pool A starting very, very soon. September 2nd, the first match, Greece versus the Ukraine. Make sure you check out all the CEV digital platforms for more on the tournament. Subscribe here on YouTube, where some of the matches will be shown, but if you want to watch all of them, make sure you check out EuroVolley.tv, a very good promotional going on right now to watch the entire tournament, men's and women's, for a very low price. So make sure you check out anywhere where you want to follow the European Championships, and we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks very much for watching.